Hello, everyone. Talking here about, we're happy to be in New York. Also, hi to the people that are joining us, remotely, because I know there is a lot of people, not only from the US, but from other countries that are connected online. I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm Miguel Valdez-Faura. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bonitasoft. And I'm going to be presenting today with Philippe Lomé. Philippe is our head of product marketing. He's based out of France, and he's going to be the one, showing a little bit more the capabilities of the product, and of course, showing you a demo. On my side, I wanted to also have the chance to start with a kind of an overview presentation, which I'll share with you, our vision on the evolution of this market and how Bonita is positioning on that respect. And then I'm going to switch floor with Philippe. Of course, as there is people here, people online, I think that will be better if we can keep the questions at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a little bit hard to manage. So here we go. Every time that I'm discussing with a customer, with a partner about digital transformation, I like to talk about first, not technology, but the culture and the process and the team. By definition, digital transformation is about changing, is a positive change, but it's changing things in the way you operate in your business. And for that, what I realized is that organizations, especially big organizations that are successful about driving or undertaking digital transformation initiative, are the one that has an attitude to change. They put together teams that they really want to change how things were done before, and they like to think about, okay, let's make changes, let's think big, as you say in the US, but let's iterate. Let's make sure that we provide value really fast, that we get feedback from users or for customers if you are also targeting launching new products, and let's integrate those ones really fast. So all the agile, continuous delivery thing is really important when you are thinking about, of course, digital transformation. So don't, before we move to the technology piece, please keep in mind, and that potentially looks obvious, but it's super important to make sure that the team you put together to work on digital transformation projects is the right team, and they want to bring this kind of culture. So if we talk now a little bit more about the technology, I always say that there are three different, and I'm not the only one, I have here some reference from some analysts as well. So there are three different areas in which you are going to be impacting positively again when you're doing a digital transformation. So first of all, customer experience. That's one of the main drivers of digital transformation initiative. You want to change things in the way you interact with the customers. Not necessarily selling more, but keep them happy. Second thing is more about related to the operational processes. So this is about more improve the way your existing operations are working. And this is where everything started for us. As a business process management vendor at the beginning, usually we were working with customers on helping you to work more effectively. So the operational side of the story is where not only us, but the majority of the VPN vendors started working with customers. And of course, business model. So usually you're going to impact the three. If you want to launch new offerings or new products, and that's positively going to impact your revenue, that's something that is usually related to digital transformation. A concrete example, in the bank industry, I know that there is some people here on the table in the financial services. Now there's a lot of people trying to create new services for customers, like opening a bank account with your mobile, which some years ago was not existing. You need to go to the branch, the local branch, go there with your ID and open your account. Now, things have changed, regulations have changed, technology has changed. So those are the kind of projects that can be the first one that the bank is going to launch as part of the digital transformation. And of course, it's going to not only impact the revenue, it's going to also help you in terms of please your customers and having people, liking your brand. Okay, so sorry, before that, when you think usually about what are the technologies that can help you support your digital transformation, there's a lot of debate those days, but some of the analysts, including the big Gartner, Forrester, of course, Argonne Search, NWD, they are now discussing about, okay, we're going to see platforms like becoming like digital business platforms, meaning that we're going to have a new kind of software that is going to help you to support all those transformation initiatives. And they say, like, okay, usually if one of those platforms exists, it should be something about providing process management capabilities, decision management capabilities, business rules, integration with other systems. It's going to be also about providing the right analytics. If you are adding other devices into the mix, potential Internet of Things, and of course more and more artificial intelligence. So again, there is still a debate about whether this platform thing is going to be a new market or the digital business platform is going to be something that you build, to make sure that you can tackle your projects. But in any case, those are the kind of the capabilities that you potentially are going to start thinking about. I like also to say that what is making a big impact on digital transformation is all the automation-related technologies. So besides of the one that we just saw, the automation market in general is changing. So, and I think that the way people perceive automation is also changing. We used to perceive automation as, okay, we're going to save time, we're going to save money, we're going to reduce cost. And now we're thinking about automation about the way to deliver more value to customers. Back to the example of opening a bank account. If you can open a bank account with your mobile application, of course you are saving time, but you are changing the way you operate, the way you interact with the customer. No? That's more the vision of the automation. And I'm saying that because, and I'm going to use this chart, this image from one analyst based out of London, Neil from MWP, that he's basically saying, when you are thinking about automating things in your business, you're going to find a ton of things. Of course, you're going to find people that, like Bonitasoft, started on the workflow, on the BPM, business process management market, that then expanded to case management. Then you're going to see people that are more on the traditional low-code application development, trying to visually code your applications. But you're going to find other people, like you're going to find now even Salesforce with, after the acquisition of MuleSoft, like providing services that are going to help you to integrate, all your web services in the organization. And you are more and more even find new technologies like, for example, RPA. I don't know if you are familiar with robotic process automation, but it's also coming to the mix, having some robots that can help you to take some of the repetitive tasks that some people are doing, so those guys can save and spend more time on other tasks. So all those technologies, and of course, artificial intelligence. So all those technologies are kind of part of this automation space, and you should probably evaluate some of them for your digital transformation initiative. Our position at Bonitasoft is that, of course, you cannot be good at everything, and I think that there is no vendor that can claim that they have a solution for all that in terms of technology. So we try to be excellent in some areas, especially, as you can imagine, processes, case management, application development, and then we try to partner with other vendors so we can also maximize the value that we can bring to our customers. So for example, we're not going to develop a robotic process automation solution, but we just announced a partnership with UiPath, which is one of actually the leader in this market. We look to what people like Forrester or Gartner are saying. We're doing the same for digital signature. We're not going to do a digital signature, implementation. So we decided to partner with DocuSign. So that's how we are approaching that. No, automation is big. We know that depending of your priorities, we are going to require different technologies, and we're going to try to either propose our platform or to combine our platform with other technologies. Make sense? So just switching out how we do it, how we're doing that, and just one slide to introduce Bonitasoft for just some of you that potentially don't know the company yet. So Bonitasoft, we started as an open source company, so a company providing not only support and services, but also commercial version of Bonita open source workflow project. So of course, we have users, so we have people that are using our open source free version, and then we have customers, so people buying our commercial solution, like many other open source vendors. So here you have some figures. We have 130,000 people in our community using Bonita every day, the free version, answering questions to other people, and just helping us with the awareness. We have then more than 1,000 paying customers in more than 75 countries. Of course, we are here also in the US, so our main geographies are Europe, US, and Latin America. And then we have an ecosystem of partners, not only the technology partners that I was mentioning, like UiPath or like DocuSign, but also system integrators. So if you work with people like Actionable, work with people like Cognizant, if you work with people like Capgemini, or even smaller firms that are local to your area or to your country. So we work with those guys to make sure you have the right service if you need it. Of course, we've been raising some money for the last 9 years, so something of $35 million. Here you have a figure in euros. So we have pretty solid investors. And especially over the last 2 years, we're getting a lot of momentum also from the analysts. No? Last year, we get into the Magic Quadrant for our space, for Gartner. So that's also giving us a lot of credibility, especially as an open source vendor, no? Because in our market, there were not that much of open source vendors that were recognized. So that's by analysts, so that's a big improvement. So today we're going to be talking about the new version of the platform. This version is the 7.7 version. I'm not going to go in details because Philippe is going to describe that, but basically what you can do with Bonita is build something that we call living applications. So you can build applications that serve your digital transformation initiative. What makes us different is that those applications, those living applications, are basically composed of 3 layers, 3 components. Of course, the process. We are workflow guys, we are PPM guys. Of course, the process part is key. So where the logic is going to be. We also have models that allow you to define the business data. For example, if I'm taking again the example of opening a bank account, having the user information or the customer information could be something that you can define in this data or the product we're going to sell to those customers. And of course, the UI. If you want to build dedicated applications, whatever they are, mobile or web, you can also build it with the platform. And actually, our secret sauce is like how you can build those applications based on those components, and how you can make, of course, work them together seamlessly. But if you need to make changes in one of those pieces, you are not impacting the other. Of course, there are some situations in which you are going to have an impact, but the majority of the cases, you can make changes on the UI without impacting the process. And that's, of course, really efficient and makes the continuous delivery promise happen. No? So we have been working over the years to make that happening and to make sure that you can build those applications in a collaborative way. And Philippe is going to be demonstrating that. Recently, for the last 2 years, we have been investing a lot on making sure that you cannot deliver only the first version of this application, but you can continuously develop new versions of this application. And guess what? Because of course, you cannot pretend to work with customers on their digital transformation initiative if you're not able to make changes fast, iterate really fast, get the feedback, and release new versions of the application. So that's what is behind, no? Platform to build those applications, making changes in those applications without impacting the different layers, and making sure you can continuously deliver innovation. I want to also to briefly talk about doing case management with Bonita. I'm saying that because there's terminology in which people have different definitions, and those days there is more and more people talking about case management. So we often ask the question about, can you do case management applications with Bonita? Basically, just what is case management? Case management is about rather than having structured processes in which you know exactly what's going to happen, the sequence of things that is going to happen in your process, like opening your bank account. Step number 1, fulfilling a form. Step number 2, somebody's going to manage your request. Number 3, maybe connect to a system. All is known in advance. There are situations in which there are some exceptions that can happen. There are situations in which you don't want to force a particular order to the sequence of the task that's going to be done. So another example of that could be this application I have here is managing credit card litigation. You are calling the support of your bank, support service, and you want to claim. You are filing a claim that somebody is using my credit card. Can you stop? Can you cancel my credit card? Can you send me a new one? No? And you see here in this example that some of this process is structured, so it's traditional process. So you know exactly the sequence of what's going to happen. And then you have some steps on the top that are not connected, and that they're going to be activated depending of what needs to be done, so you can manage the different exceptions. No? And you can adapt, you give some additional flexibility to the agent, for example, that's going to be managing that. No? So just let you know that we have been working on different examples of case management application. For example, this one, the litigation, critical litigation, that we can also share with you if you are interested, in case that you want to build applications that are really flexible in terms of how the logic, how the business logic is performed. Another interesting thing that I would like to talk today is that with the maturity of the company and the maturity of the product, we wanted to, in addition to the platform, the Bonita platform, add value by releasing some additional modules. Actually, we call it add-ons. So you can see that as 2 new products, but we call it add-ons because basically they sit on top of the platform. I mean, the purpose is not to use them independently of the platform. So the first one, and today Philippe is going to be demonstrating primarily this one, is we decided that working, after many years working with customers, we decided to package different frameworks, configuration tools to help you do, for example, continuous integration of your application. If you have a team of 10 people working on developing the application, what about making sure you can do the continuous integration? What about testing? What about making sure you can deploy easily your application? We have been also packaging things in terms of helping you to set up a Bonita server really quickly in your environment. And maybe your environment is an Amazon Web Service environment, or maybe your environment is your local machines or whatever, no? So can we accelerate all those things that otherwise you're going to be doing manually with scripts, with so we have been basically putting all that together for you. The second one is more our innovation, is our take on artificial intelligence, how artificial intelligence technologies can play a role into the BPM platform. And I'll talk about that. You will see that this is mainly about can we help you to detect some inefficiencies in your application and your processes so you can do this continuous delivery with some extra help from the machine. So that's basically the idea. Let me just explain that really quickly. So first of all, it's kind of a diagram. It's going a little bit more technical here about the first module. So what we call continuous delivery module, not the one on the left. And this module is packaging tools, frameworks, and services that are divided in two. So the first one is more related to development team. So if you have a development team using Bonita for building the process, designing the UIs and the business data, usually those guys are using a version control system, like probably GitHub. What about helping those guys to really easily use technologies like Jenkins to do the continuous integration? So what about, it's really helpful to prepackage, the jobs to help those guys going from development to deployment. So you can do that, of course, at different levels, depending on where you are in terms of your product development, but that was the main idea. At some point, after those guys are good with the new version of the application, you potentially want to deploy that into your production environment. So we have another set of tools that is basically helping you to set up in a minute a new Bonita server in, for example, Amazon, AWS. We can also help you to deploy those applications and also to maximize the way you are using Bonita in production. So those are the kind of tooling that we have been shipping with this new model. And again, we divided in development and production. And as you can see, something I forgot to mention, last year we did a major partnership with Amazon, AWS, to make sure that we can certify that Bonita is running properly and maximizing, leveraging the different services of Amazon. No? We're doing the same thing with Microsoft Azure, in case you're interested. But of course, all that is also valuable if you are hosting yourself, your production, your own servers. You can use the same kind of technology. Okay, now, second thing, so I'm talking a little more about the innovation part, artificial intelligence. I cannot come to a meetup in New York and not talk about artificial intelligence. No, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence those days. But honestly, we didn't want to approach that as I don't want to become a new data science platform. There is plenty of them, and there are people dedicating resources and money to that for a while. What we wanted to do is can we use some AI technologies in the context of our platform, in the context of process execution, application execution, and we came to something that is called process mining. process mining has been used in the market mostly for discovering process. But we say, like, can we use process mining techniques to process that has already been defined? For example, you already have your opening a new account process defined with Bonita. Can we apply process mining to learn from historical execution and then make predictions? And that's what we've done. So what we've done is like we work with our customers and we see, okay, you have been running, I don't know, loan management for your customers over the last 2 years. So we have a module that have a look to all those historical data and apply some learnings to the new loan request. And those learnings are something like, okay, yeah, if your goal as a bank is to manage loans in less than 48 hours, we can say, we think that this particular loan is not going to respect your loan, your goal, sorry. So we think that it's predicted late. And this is what you should do, you know, to bring it back to normal, no? So that's the idea. The idea is to learn from the people that are really using heavily Bonita in their process and try to help them to improve the process by making predictions. And of course, we do the predictions based on the different goals. So in this particular, in this new release, we have been really working on time predictions that you can apply. So the goal is like, I want this thing to be happening before this number of days, and we make all the predictions on that. But of course, we're going to extend that to any other goal. So really exciting. One thing that I call it a positive side effect. But while we're doing that, we actually needed to bring into the product some other technologies. I'm sure that you are familiar with Elasticsearch, especially if you are working with a big amount of data. So to make sure that our process mining algorithm was able to make accurate predictions, we needed to transform a little bit the data, historical data we were looking to. And so we put basically historical data into an Elasticsearch database, and this is how then we do the predictions. And there are a lot of customers that tell us, oh, can we get access to this same information? Because for doing some analytics, I would love to get to get access to your Elasticsearch database and do analytics and business activity monitoring. So that's what we've done. So in Elasticsearch, there is a tool called Kibana, and Kibana is basically a way to create reports on data that is stored in Elasticsearch. And here we have an example. So basically, with the same data that our AI algorithm is using, you can see how many loans has been started. You can see the average direction of the loans, and you can use it to get additional information to make your decisions. So it's a way to say, okay, yeah, I'm balancing the predictions that are being made by the algorithm by my human predictions. And you can even use it for make the AI algorithm more accurate by removing some data sets from those predictions. So really interesting, because as we were digging into that space, we saw that we could provide some additional value to our customers. So that's something that we released some month ago, and we're gonna continue to invest on that. And just before I turn the presentation to Philip, I just wanted to highlight a little bit what we are doing with technology partners. I told you before that we are not pretending to cover the whole automation market alone. Bonitasoft was well known for having a big ecosystem, but the majority of our ecosystem, at the beginning was community people, as I mentioned, or people using our free version. It was estimated that we have more than 6,000 people actively in production using Bonita in different businesses. So people are contributing with extensions of the code, translating the product in different languages. We also have, as I mentioned before, a strong system integrator partner ecosystem, but we recently wanted to extend that with what we call strategic partners, as really simple technology partners. So other vendors selling also software, and which we can build and complete our technologies. So here we used to have a really strong partnership with Talent. Maybe you are familiar with Talent. Also a French company that they did pretty well. They are now on NASDAQ. So they are leaders in data integration and big data integration. So we have a strong partnership with them. Actually, if you buy the Talent Master Data Management product, you have Bonita embedded. But more recently, we did partnership with those three vendors, as I just described before. No? Just want to give you some highlights, and then I'm going to stop on my side about two of them, UiPath and DocuSign. First of all, UiPath, if you are familiar with UiPath, they are based not so far from here, Park Avenue. This is a company that has been growing a lot over the last years and months. And they have a really nice technology. Basically, what UiPath and their RPA technology can do is like they can take some of the tedious tasks, repetitive tasks that people in your organization are doing at different levels, and basically put that into the hands of robots, which is basically more evolutive way than kind of a script, but it's really more evolutive. So meaning that you can record anything that is being done in a desktop, for example, and you can have a robot doing that for you. No? So, but of course, at some point you need to interact with a human. You are not gonna, replace a customer, for example. No? So we are really good about managing interaction with humans. We also do interaction with systems, of course, but we are excel on processes in which at some point there is human interaction, whatever it is an employee in your company, whatever it is a customer. So it makes perfect sense for us to make a partnership in which we can help you with your end-to-end process automation. And we can help you to get your process more efficient. We can help you with driving your digital transformation initiative. Some of the tasks are going to be delegated to some robots. Some of the tasks are going to make people more efficient. Some of the tasks are going to make your systems more efficient. And at the end, what we are willing is to improve customer experience. On the technical side, we decided to go with UiPath for a number of different reasons. But we are sharing a lot of similarities. So UiPath, they also have a free version. They don't have an open source version, but it's a free version. They have an open architecture, so it was really easy to connect the solutions they are using. Guess what? Elasticsearch to do some monitoring as well. So all that makes a lot of sense. And so stay tuned, because we are now also integrating deeper the technologies. So you can easily from Bonita call a UiPath robot, and from UiPath you can call a Bonita process. So we're making this integration even tighter. No? We are not going to be demonstrating that today because it was not the purpose of the meetup. But if you are interested in the integration with UiPath, if you go to our website, the video section, we did some webinars in different languages, including English. So you will find a presentation in which we are talking about the complementarity. We are demonstrating the solution. Same for other topics that I discussed today, case management. You have a ton of videos that we recently published about all that. And last but not least, talking about DocuSign. I guess that everybody knows DocuSign here. So of course, there's a bunch of players in the digital signature market, but DocuSign are becoming really successful. And this in the middle, it's kind of a summary of what DocuSign can do. So basically, they can help you prepare your documents for signature. They can help you to sign documents, and they can help you to then store the documents somewhere. And Bonitasoft can help also, on a lot of those steps. No, basically, as soon as the business logic of your document signature is becoming a little bit more complex, you are going to need, a workflow BPM solution. So this is where we play a role. No? So every time that you need complex business logic to happen for preparing the document that you need to sign, or making sure that depending of some security constraints, you need to identify people in a way or another, all this kind of logic can be handled with Bonita. So that's what we can do with them. And of course, if you have a Bonita process or Bonita application and you need to sign a document, we have a DocuSign connector, so you can sign it directly. That was a lot of information probably, but just wanted to make sure that you had that in mind. We're going to also, of course, share with all of you the attendees the slides. You wanna give it a second thought. So I will be happy to continue the discussion. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to switch to Philippe. We're going to see a little bit more about the platform, and then thank you.
Hi everybody. Thanks, Miguel. So after a wonderful Spanish accent, you'll have a bad French accent. I'm sorry.
Or maybe just if you have one question for me, because I'm scatter plane.
I was thinking that the last 2 points you said about the UI path and the DocuSign. When they give their presentations, do they talk about Bonita, or you're saying that you are ready with them?
Yeah.
Or do they also talk about you in some way? Are they kind of connect somehow?
That's a good question. So actually, it's I like the partnership in which you have a win-to-win relationship. So we see the value of partnering with them, and they see the value of partnering with us. So that's what we are doing with UiPath. It's a recent announcement because we announced that like a month and a half ago. But yeah, we already did joint webinars, meaning that it's not Bonitasoft talking about that, but UiPath is also saying, okay, yeah, if you already have APA in your organization, or you can add BPM capability, so this whole BPM can help. So yeah, it's redirection.
That's good.
Yeah, then it's just of course that.
Because I know with DocuSign, and we are trying to transform in Caravan as well. But underlying the technology, you were saying some of the technology you said is Bonita. I didn't have the name Bonita.
Okay.
So I was trying to relate the two things.
Yeah. So no, the answer is yes. Then there are some companies in which, or some partners in which you are stronger in one region or the other. DocuSign, we are stronger in Europe in terms of communication. Of course, we are not the only BPM vendor partnering with DocuSign and signing documents, as you can imagine. But for example, DocuSign in Europe, we are doing a lot of joint activities. UiPath is more global, but thank you.
Okay, thanks, Miguel. So I'll present to you an overview first of the Bonita platform, quickly an architectural view. Then I'll dive essentially on the last version we released in June. So first, there is a quick summary architectural view of the platform. So we had the question just at the beginning. The Bonita platform is a set of components and tooling to create and develop process-based applications that we call, as Miguel said, living applications. So living applications are composed of many components. So you have some UI, you have the business data, we store and manage for you your business data. We have, of course, our DNA, which are the processes, which represent all the business logic to manipulate and progress in your workflow to change and manipulate your business data. And so all these components are managed by two big blocks. So first, the studio. Bonita Studio is a development tool. So this tool is dedicated to both developer and citizen developer concept, because we have a local approach where you can design your process, create all the artifacts that will compose the living application. So all these artifacts, once built and composed together, can be deployed on the Bonita runtime environment. The Bonita runtime environment is a server, okay? It's based on the Tomcat application server or Wi-Fi application server, and it can execute both your processes, it can store and manage the access to all your business data, plus to the execution of process data, which are our whole model of data to build the process. And as Miguel said, also it serves all the UI from the end user. So the UI you will develop with Bonita, and also we have our own Bonita portal, which is more the administrative part of the Bonita runtime server. So, in addition to the whole platform, we have for a while now, we have added some new add-ons in the last year. So there is a quick example of standard platform environment. So you have a Bonita runtime for your production environment, and in your development and part, you have some server runtime for development, for tests, etc. Plus a set of studio in order to have your team to collaborate and develop together on the same application. So within this overview, what we have added is first the BCD, Bonita Continuous Delivery add-on. This add-on is split in two parts. The first part is called BCD Stack. It allows to deploy easily a whole Bonita runtime environment, so the Tomcat, the database, create from the database, etc., on any environment. So either an existing machine, a Linux machine, we connect to it for you. We install all the components and the server is up and running. Or we can also pilot for you all the infrastructure on the cloud service, especially AWS, because we are a partner with AWS. And so we can create for you automatically the infrastructure, allocate a new server, deploy Bonita on it, and if you want after, destroy the server. So it's, for AWS, for instance, or cloud infrastructure, it's especially valuable when you are in development or test environment, when you don't want to provision during a long time server just for some test, just want to allocate a server for a few hours, then deploy Bonita, do your test, and they allocate the server. So this is the first part of the BCD add-on. Then we have BCD, the part living application. This one integrates a builder and a deployer of living application. So all the components that has been developed on the studio, all the different parts. So we had in this add-on the capabilities to build all these components together. So the process, the UI, the model of your business data, and we will automatically clone from an existing repository where the studio collaborate and deploy this living application in any environment. In addition to BCD, we also have the add-on BC. We won't focus on that one, so this is the one Miguel was referring to regarding artificial intelligence. This one just plug on an existing production environment, gather your data, store them in Elasticsearch, and allow to do some prediction on the process duration execution. So it was an overview of the platform. So now let's focus on the last improvement we made on Bonita, the last version. So we have a release cycle of 6 months. So every 6 months we release a new major version. So minor in terms of number, but major in terms of features we add into. So we have a release in June and a release in December every year. So in June we rolled out Bonita 7.7 and the new version of the add-on BCD 2.0. I'll dive into these two releases now. So in Bonita 7.7, what did we have? So we had a lot of improvement regarding the collaboration stuff. So we now integrated the support for Git server, where the repository on which you will store all your artifacts. We have textual div, we can streamline artifacts by name, so we can show that during the demo. And I will focus the demo on that part also. Then we also have added the capabilities to protect your business data. So as we store for you, if you want, again, we can store for you and manage your business data on a dedicated database. We have added a layer of access control above this business data in order to manage the access right and protect attribute depending on profile of the user that want to access to this data. We also added a save form widget, a temporary save form widget, and come back on that one, and some enhancement on build-up synchronizer. This one is just a small component that synchronizes an existing organization on help app and Active Directory, etc., with the user of Bonita. Let me just focus quickly because we want to see that during the demo on the business data access control. So previously, so imagine a business data model, simple one when you have some contract with 2 attributes, amount and discount, and 3 profiles, sales manager, internship, and junior sales. Previously, anybody can have access to these different attributes and value, and you want to add some specific technical stuff to protect it. Now, with the new version of Bonita 7.7, we have added a new layer to protect access to your data depending on the profile. So, for instance, on this example of contract, you can define that the sales manager can access to everything. An internship cannot access to any object, and for instance, junior sales can access to all the contract, but not the discount attribute because it does not have the right to it. So it's very simple. You have a graphical user interface to configure that and to deploy it dynamically on the platform. So you can change the access right dynamically without having to restart the server or else. Then the save form widget. That one is a save form temporary. So it allows you, for instance, when you develop big form with a lot of fields to fill, I don't know, so IT field to field because it's a long request and you have something very hard and it takes a long time. So sometimes the operator or the user try to enter some data and after want to do a break, they unload from the server, come back later, want to log in again, and after he has to refill all his fields. So now with this simple button, the operator and the users can start to fill all the fields, save temporarily, he can disconnect from the platform, do something else, reconnect, and will reload all the fields he has saved temporarily. It can be used also in a mobile environment. You can preload your page on your mobile, go on offline mode, for instance, if you are in a zone which is not covered by any network. Start to fill your field and save temporarily with this button. And when you come back online, you can submit definitively the form on the server. So let me now focus on what I will show you during the demo. So the Bonita 7.7 BCD 2.0. So the combination of both these components. So first one, as I said before, we added a lot of improvement regarding the Git integration into Bonita. So why did we choose Git? Because for us, Git is not only a VCS or a way to store your different piece of code or artifacts, etc. It's also a way to standardize the methodology of development. Okay? Because the way you interact with Git force the developer and the tech guy to interact in a proper manner, to take only some piece of the application, commit only a subpart, do some remits, etc. So I won't dive into the Git technical words, but it's very, very powerful in terms of methodology of development. And this is clearly the first step for the full continuous delivery chain. So we have added a new plugin, we have added the capabilities to easily do some textual diff on your different artifacts and streamline the UI designer artifacts. So we'll show that later. So it's some screenshot of the studio with the Git integration. I'll show you that during the demo. Then we have the BCD add-on, the famous, which is split in two parts, the famous stack part. So the stack part is what I call here the solution for Bonita platform provisioning for sysadmin. That one allows you to, as I said before, deploy easily a full Bonita server, so ready to be used to deploy and put all your components for your application. And the first part, which is what we had recently, which is all the builder and deployer in order to integrate and put all your living application into a continuous delivery integration tool. So if I focus on provisioning, so we rolled out that in December, on the release of December last year. So it covers two main use cases: the capability to install a stack, as I said before, on any Linux environment. So it is Docker-based, so we'll connect to the machine, deploy the Docker engine, deploy on it the Docker image of Bonita, so and everything in few seconds. And then we can also create everything related to the infrastructure if you use AWS. Okay? But it's not, again, it's not AWS oriented, but we added this layer. So also if you're on AWS, we can pilot for you your infrastructure deployment. The second part, it's the continuous integration thing application. So I'll show you a graph just after. So in the BCD 2.0, we have added the different components to build and deploy, but also we provide the pre-built Jenkins, which is the most famous continuous integration tool, a pre-built Jenkins pipeline in order for you to easily use that in your workflow of development for your collaborator. So what composes a living application? So we have a descriptor, we have some pages, some profile, organization, you have some business data, so I'll show you where is it exactly on the studio. We can have all the extension capabilities, what we call the REST API extension. We have the connector, which allows you to connect to different external systems. And everything is stored on a Git repository. And everything composes your living application. So all these artifacts, previously, you had to, from your Bonita Studio, build manually and export one by one the different artifacts. Then, for instance, if you want to do some tests and all these components together and your living application asks for sysadmin to create for you a machine, you deploy Bonita on it, Bonita runtime, then deploy your artifacts of living application on it, then ask your user acceptance to do your user or business user to do some tests on the living application, then go to the pod, etc. So very manual step, very error prone. So now we have streamlined this process thanks to BCD. So thanks to BCD, we have added two main parts, the builder and the deployer. So then we have integrated that into Jenkins pipeline. So you can use only the builder and the deployer, but we also provide to you a Jenkins pipeline, so it can be integrated in the continuous integration tool. So with BCD, so now we automate all the steps, and we take all the artifacts that are stored on the repository, Git repository, for instance. We build all these artifacts for you. We ensure the compatibility of all the artifacts together. Then, thanks to the first part, the stack part of BCD, we can automatically, for you, create a test environment for a few hours. We'll deploy on it your living application component, and then you can launch your user acceptance test. And when it's ready, you can trash everything, and so you have gained a lot of money in terms of provisioning infrastructure deployment. So the value of BCD and why it really helps, and it's very complementary of Bonita 7.7, so it will allow the developer to avoid to forget artifacts because everything will be automatically built. It ensures the reproducibility in test and production. You can find and address bug quicker because you automate the flow. And it accelerates the time of development by removing some manual operation by exporting one by one the artifacts. And for business user, clearly, it accelerates the time to market because it automates everything. So the development team can focus on responding and answering to business needs rather than developing a lot of tooling to automate all this deployment on the server. So now let's focus on the demo. Okay, so I just launched Bonita Studio 7.2. So when you launch it, you have this this graph. So at Bonita, as our DNA is a process. When you start to develop, you start to create a new diagram. But you can start by something else. But by default, we propose you to start to create your business logic, so your different workflow and interaction between users. So there is a simple, the basic workflow you can create. So let's say we'll use the loan application, loan request that Miguel presented before. So what I do to do a loan. So I can start by creating my workflow, but yes.
What is the role right now? As a demo, when you do this demo, who's the person who will be doing these actions you just doing?
Into the studio here, it's more a developer guy. So it depends. If you just want to have someone like a business analyst to define the workflow, so you can easily, like a modelizer, you can use Bonita Studio just to modelize. So someone like a business analyst can use it and start the modelization, saying, okay, I have a pool here. What I want to do is to, after the loan request has been created, so let's call this pool loan request, so for instance.
So you want to visualize what's actually happening in the business.
Yes, exactly. And this workflow will be executed after by the platform. And it's not only a modelizer, clearly it is a way to execute after. It will be executed by the platform itself. So, for instance, after I start the process and I ask for a loan request, I will have to do a credit check, ensure you can pay. Then we can use a gateway here, which will create two branches in your process. So credit valid. So when credit is valid, I can register the loan, for instance. I'm not an expert in loan, but imagine. So if it is not valid, I can, for instance, send reject notification. And for when I want to send a reject notification, what I will do here is add what we call a connector. So it is all the capabilities to connect to external system, to do some both way data exchange. So here the reject notification can be send an email. So we have a set of multiple connector here. So let's say I'll send an email. So I can create send email of rejection. Well, not very readable. Anyway, so and I fill all my authentication. I can use parameter here in order to avoid to enter my credential here and resolve this parameter later on production with my sys and etc. But this is more the configuration when you deploy. So anyway, here is a very simple example of what I can do. After when I've started to define my business logic, I can define the data that will be used by this business logic. So we have all a modeler of business data where I can define the different object my application will manage. So a loan, for instance, with an amount, with the first name of the people that asks, the last name. Okay, I don't know the birth date of the guy who asked. So all these data are related to will be managed by the business logic. So this data will have their own life cycle. So they will be stored in the dedicated database, but I can manipulate them through the business logic. So for this process, I'll attach some data because this process will manipulate a loan. So I can attach here a loan. Use the type loan I just created here. And then when I start the process, I want to first enter the different loan information. So we have a notion called the contract. The contract is the way to guarantee the communication between the UI and the business logic itself. So the contract is put on any user interface. It's defined between a user interface and the business logic. So here I can create a contract. When I start the process, I need to ensure that I will enter all this information: the amount of the loan, the first name, the last name of the guy, and the zipper. So what it will do is create this contract. So when now someone wants to start this process, so you can use any kind of user interface, so PHP code, etc. And we have REST APIs that will be generated for this process. So after you can say, okay, now I have my user interface with where I will define my loan stuff, so the first name, the last name, the amount, the birth date of the guy, and I will call the REST API of Bonita, and Bonita will just execute the process and store the data. It is an option.
With this action?
With this action. So now, when I will deploy this process in production, I have the REST API ready to start the process with all of this.
So there is an endpoint which I can call and
exactly. But of course, we provide a new user interface designer for 3 years now, 4 years now. So typically, let's create here the instantiation form, so the form to create my user interface to start the process. Sorry. So it is based on the contract. So as the contract said, I need to have these 4 fields ready to start the execution of the workflow. It will generate for you the user interface. And so generate for you a basic one, but you can enrich this one with some 10. You can have, for instance, you can add some title. So it's a drag and drop user interface here. You can easily enhance. So one, for instance. So it's very easy to use for developer, especially so for any kind of developer with a small technical skills, he can easily develop his user interface by himself, do some mapping, and if someone has a strong front-end skills, we provide also on the same form editor. So this form editor which is coupled with the studio. Okay, so as you have seen, it is not directly integrated into the studio. I have the studio here, and I have my user interface, UI designer interface here. Sorry, I put them together here. So it's a web component, but integrated into the studio. Okay, just open like an editor outside of the studio, but it's totally integrated with the studio and communicates with it. So if you want to do some more detailed stuff and more fancy stuff with JavaScript, etc., you can extend it as you wish. So we let the capabilities to create what we call custom widget. Okay, my custom widget, but I won't dive into that one, but just to let you know it exists. So here, if you are a strong JavaScript developer, we use Angular technology, so a well-known JavaScript framework, to extend the capability of our UI. So someone that wants to integrate any external JavaScript, plug it with Angular, can do any fancy stuff. Okay. So now I've developed my instantiation form. I have my data. So what I can do is just start the process. So here in the studio, you have a small runtime, Bonita runtime environment integrated into the studio. Oops, I forgot to map the actor.
Is this the privileges you were talking about?
Yes.
Right, to do what?
This is what we call the actor mapping. So usually you have actors, it's just a label that you will have associated to some task, human task, or human interactions. And then on the other side, you have to map it to the organization. So you will map it with like a list of users, list of groups, this kind of things. So that's what you can configure from there.
So if I want to do something, do you assign that actor to me, or what will happen there? How
You
will
will be like a candidate of a specific action, and then you can assign yourself to this specific task if you're part of the candidates, and then the other ones won't be able to do it anymore. It's like you keep it for yourself. Click on configure, the button.
Configure.
You see? It's not
It's not mapped. Sorry.
Yeah, because the thing is that we have multiple environments, so we can set up like, we can configure it with different environments. Sometimes it will be like a qualification environment, sometimes it will be local.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, it's better to, you need to select the one.
So it is next Bonita portal, so the famous configuration UI we provide at Bonita. So you by default this portal provides the user portal. So it is a basic one when you can have all your list of tasks to do. So all the tasks we have defined here in the studio. So the creation of the process, the credit check, there can be a manual task, etc. You can see the process. You can start. We just have loan request here. So cases, which are the instances of load I have to manage. We have an administrative part where an administrator, here's my user, have all the rights, so I can show you the administrator part, all the status and the monitoring of the processes, etc. The organization stored, the famous business data installed, and the access control, etc. But I won't dive too much in that one. So I can go to a user. So user can start a process from the basic user interface. So what it will do is just present the UI I've created. So we are in New York, so let's say yes, at least. Not sure I will be able to.
Which database will this be saved in?
By default, it's H2, just for development purpose, but a regular server will be able to leverage any kind of vendor. I mean, most of them will be, most of our customers are using a SQL server, Oracle, these kind of things. It's all based on Hibernate, so it's kind of abstract. So it's like you can pretty much do whatever you want.
And it can be connected to this thing.
Yes, it's relational databases, so you don't have NoSQL. But most of it is, I mean, you don't really care about the database itself because you don't leverage the data. Only the engine is using this. For the BTN part, the same. You structure the data, but it will be relational. So everything will be based on the regular relational database vendors, I'd say.
So here I created my loan. So what did we put into this new process? We had the task, human task, which is credit check. I did not do anything on that one, but just to let you show that once the loan request has been created with the first interface which creates a workflow, I have a first task ready in my task list, which is credit check loan. So I can take this task and execute it. Maybe in that panel I can have many fields to monitor, etc. So there is a quick and very fast way to create a diagram. So now what I suggest is to show to you a pre-built application with which is much more real, I would say. Yes. So I have created for you a repository. So it is stored on GitHub, but it can be any Git repository or SVN. So I clone, so it means I will copy all this repository on my environment. Okay.
So you're copying the flow that you created, you're trying to convert them into code?
No, yes, exactly. This flow will be automatically converted as code, and it has been deployed on my Bonita server, etc. So now what I will do is grab another repository with a lot of tasks, something more evolved.
So somebody can use that as a starting point for the development? Is that the idea?
Yes.
You can see it as the code base.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so whatever diagram would be XML at the end.
Yes.
So it's not wasted effort, as in, from the business point of view, somebody put an effort to put all this process in place, or to put this flow in place, and you're converting that into a code,
Yes.
which can be used by somebody who doesn't know the process.
Yes. I would say business users can start to modelize the flow because they know different steps and different actors, etc. But to be frank, we really think that building a real application needs to be finalized by technical guys. So the studio is clearly the first step, so it can be used for the modelization by business users. But after, if you really want to integrate, so we have to say the truth, right? To be frank, if you want to integrate this application and, for instance, call a credit check service outside, etc., I'm not sure that the business users can call a REST API, connect to it, retrieve the data, insert it in. I'm not sure that they can do that. But they can identify this task and say to the developer, okay, I have a task here. In the flow, I know at the time we have to connect to an external system to do the credit check. Okay, so and the technical guy will open this this workflow and do all the finalize, do the stuff to connect technically to
Yes. So how is the code helping as in the developer?
Yeah.
How is that code that you just generated helps? How does it help?
What do you mean?
I mean, you just converted it into a code. It went into GitHub.
Yeah.
Why would, as a developer, why would I be interested in that?
Because it's a way for you to have a nice vision of the flow. Okay, it's easy to manipulate. You can easily update only a subpart of your whole workflow. We can update only this demo. I won't show you, but you have the capabilities to update just one form. You will have on this example. So here is a more real example of loan request with multiple tasks, multiple interaction with different systems. I'll explain to you very quickly. And with the platform, you have really the capability to update some subpart of the.
It's like it's helping you to structure
Yes.
the way you build an application, and you have like really specific extension points. So when you see here, I mean, Philippe didn't have the time to show it, but basically you have also like details into the workflow that you can extend, and that will be some code at this time. So when you will work on the studio, you will be able to write some Groovy scripts, for example, to make some expressions in case you want to do a condition, for example. This is something that is technical, right? So, and you can see the studio as an IDE for developer guy. The business guy will be able to understand that because it's like the main perspective, but the business guy won't go deeper into details. But the developer will have the same view, but he will know, or she will know how to go into details, into the implementation itself. And as soon as you have that, everything will be translated into a source code that you can have as a Git repository. So then people can collaborate around that.
Let me quickly answer this. The goal of that code is to recreate this on DevOps, on the machine. Is that the goal of that code? Or is it to use it to do development?
You can see it as a definition.
Yes.
It's a definition. This definition will be able, the engine, what we call the engine is basically the server, will be able to execute it in the way that you define it. So what you see here, the studio, is really the definition of your processes or the workflow, business logic, but also technical logic, because you were saying that, I mean, the business guy, he doesn't even, or she doesn't even know if there is like a service to do something, And so the technical guy will have to do these kind of things. And so you have this whole,
It's a prototype, as in this is how I want the flow to be. a prototype for the developer to know.
It's not
No,
really
it's
prototype. It's like
it's fun.
you have maturity going on, obviously, but they will. Obviously, the first step will be to make a draft, and maybe it will be only business view. But as soon as you go deeper into the implementation or development, obviously more technical things will come, and maybe you will have more flows or more things like what we call alternate paths or errors handling, this kind of things. So it's like you iterate on this.
So I read a quick example of a more complex loan request process. So you have the customer which can request a loan. Then you have some lanes, so responsibilities, separation. So the counselor that will validate the loan request after an automated credit check, loan scoring based on credit check notification. So we have all different steps to validate the request. On the interface itself, we have created a more advanced UI with a bank, with some drop-down to define a project type, etc. And we have also what we call the application. The application is the way to group all your process into one central service. So, yeah.
You mentioned your partnership with UiPath.
Yes.
Do you have in your studio the widgets for UiPath?
It will come in the next 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Because we just started the collaboration, so they will have, in UiPath, they will have a new connectivity to Bonita. It's a release of September, October. They will roll out something in October, if I remember well. And our next release is December, every 6 months. So we will add a new connector. So as I show you specific in the connector here, we'll have in the list of connector a new connector called UiPath with some action to call UiPath workflow. So locally or remotely, because they also have the capabilities to call remote workflow, what they call unattended RPA. So I have here my whole application, so my whole workflow. I can create some application, so I have what I call the application descriptor here. The application descriptor is a way to propose some page of navigation to start my process. So a view, so I can either have the task list when I can start my loan request, or propose a view to my end user, which is different. Either of having this task list when I can start a loan, I want to present that in a different way. So this is typically used through what we call the living application here. So I can deploy all this definition. I won't dive into the detail because we won't have time. So here we define the name of the application, the different page, and this pages has been designed with the UI designer. On this page, I just add some buttons saying create a new loan request for my customer. So it is a page that will be dedicated to my customer. I can just show you here. So I have, for instance, the page to show the different loan requests. So this one is not really readable here. It just say I will use a table with all my loan requests. I don't have data here, so it does not show anything. Okay, so what I can do now is go to my portal. I have some new application here. I will show you in a few. I have some resources. Resources are all external stuff I want to add. So I can add also some theme. So my front-end developer can develop a theme, and with this theme, they can develop CSS. So if they are expert in CSS, they can add some theme. So you can add some theme here that will be reused by your application. So just go fast on that one to dive after into the other stuff. So I have my application, for instance, sorry, not that one. It is that one. The other one is the sample one. So I have my loan request application here. When I have the table of requests and a plus button to create one. And now what I will do is deploy this process to be used by my application. So on the plus button, I just say start this workflow, but I did not deploy it for the moment, so I deploy it now.
And this is done by REST APIs. So if you have something external, whatever platform or UI that is not built in Bonita, you can also leverage that.
So you expose the endpoints.
Yeah,
yes,
REST API
absolutely.
calls like that. Yeah, we have Java API and REST API calls. So if you use Java language, you can have a client, and through HTTP, even remote, it works. And if you have a different language like JavaScript, you will be using REST API calls.
So now I can start a new request a new loan. So I created this page to ask for a loan. So same amount, duration, at least that one. And my I was that, so and I can submit. So it will create a loan. So now I have a new loan here, and this one is I have a status called blocked by technical failure because. And this is used by another demo when I will show you that, but we won't have time here. I can show you that I've called the credit check service and it does not respond, so very quickly I can connect to the Bonita portal and go to actually. So here I have all the monitoring of my instance, so I have the request to an instance. I have one case in failure. So what I can do is go to this case and try to see why it did not work properly. So I can see that my diagram here that has been deployed in production, and I can see that the loan scoring did not work properly because I did not configure properly the connectivity to my credit check steps. And I can take some action, but that's what I won't do that here, to correct that and rerun my processes. So now what I want to do is to focus on the BCD part. So all these different components I have developed on my CDO, I show you, are running locally. So that's great to have it running locally. But the most important when you develop is to interact and show the result of your development to your business users. So for that, we have developed the BCD add-on. So BCD add-on, is it? You see properly hit. Okay. So with BCD, I have now the capabilities to very quickly deploy my living application onto a remote server. So BCD is composed, it's a command line interface tool. You have a command line interface to launch it. And what you can do is go to BCD and I'm not sure you can see.
You can hide the tool.
Oh, yes, thank you. So, what I will do now is to start the BCD component. So, BCD component is based on Docker, so you connect on it and you can launch it. And when you are into this component, you can easily retrieve the whole repository I have used in my studio. So, as I said, all this information are stored in the GitHub repository. So what I'll do here is retrieve my repository. I already tested the demo before. So let's do it. So I clone. So it retrieves my whole project. So everything you have seen in the studio is in fact represented by a set of artifacts, so in the repository. So I can retrieve my diagram. So everything is described using XML file. So I can retrieve my pages, my profiles, the different organization, description, etc. So what I can do with BCD is to deploy very quickly my application on a local server. So on this machine, I have my local server which is running. So I can deploy it. I just define what we call a scenario. A scenario is an XML file which say I want to deploy locally and on my local server. So, living application I built, and I say that it will be done for my production environment. And I want to build what I just check out. So now it will build. So what it will do, it will do exactly what my studio has done manually when I deploy the business data. I show you the business data, I deploy it. I show you the different process, it will deploy it. I show you the different UI, it will deploy it. So this will be done in only one simple command. And this command, I'll show you just after, we can be integrated into Jenkins continuous integration tooling. So it built everything, so the recipe extension, etc. So now I've built my repository. So what it did, it just created a target repository. In this target, it put a zip file with everything. So what I'll do now is say, okay, with this simple command, I will deploy all the artifacts present in this directory. And so it will be deployed on a server, which is currently deployed on Amazon because it was simple for the demo, but it can be in any environment premise. So, on this environment, so if I connect to that one, so as you can see, it's not located on my computer, it's not on the studio, so it's really my remote environment. So when I connect on it, I can retrieve all the processes present in this repository. If I go to administrator, I can see all my organization, I can see my application, and especially the famous lone one, which has been redeployed dynamically, exactly as I did manually one by one in the studio. Here it has been done very quickly thanks to this two command line. So in addition to these two command line to deploy easy build and deploy very quickly, all the artifacts present in the repository. We propose also in this add-on Jenkins continuous integration pipeline. So I have here, I can connect to my Jenkins. So my Jenkins is just running here on this remote machine. So I'll connect to it. So we provide that because we know that the developer really needs to automate this build. So I can connect to my Jenkins interface, and we provide the pre-built, so I just have to launch it in one command. I did it just before the demo, but it's pre-built like that. In this Jenkins, we have some pipeline. So pipeline is a way to define the different steps to build something. What I'll do is use what I call the BCD pipeline custom. This one will check out a repository. It will build the living application. It will ensure infrastructure is created and deployed by the server. These two steps will create a new server on Amazon for you automatically. It will deploy a new Bonita runtime on it, and after it will deploy the customer source and deploy the Bonita application. So exactly the same as we have done, but really dynamically on a new server that does not exist for the moment.
I'm comparing it to the different the Bonita community that I deployed on my laptop, installed on my laptop, versus what you just said.
Yes.
Is the same thing? Or?
Yes, it deploys exactly the same, but here it will be deployed on a remote runtime to do some tests and to allocate only a server for a few minutes to do some tests or you acceptance test for your user. If your developer just want to test it very quickly or launch some tests, automatic tests on this new instance, it can be used easily. Again, it can be used also to show to the business users the result of the development of your application in few seconds without having to pre-allocate an existing machine.
Does it eliminate the need for me to install in my laptop?
You need to install the studio, or so your team need to install the studio, but for the business users, they don't have to install everything. Once it has been deployed on this server, the developer will provide to the business users the URL and say, okay, it has been deployed, you can use it. or if it is in the test phase, you can test it.
Always.
Provide me your feedback.
Okay.
I'll change it on my studio. I do the change, commit, and after I will redeploy it, and you can say to me if it is okay for you or not. So, and I can show you that if you want.
This is what you meant by the UAT environment, where
Yes.
users can go in and give feedback.
Yes, exactly. So we can easily, very quickly, in 3 minutes. So it takes 3 minutes here because it's time for Amazon to allocate a new machine, but it's far faster than install a new host locally, plug it on your network. So.
Yes.
So this pipeline would be mostly used for like, hey, I have a new commit on my source, and then I want to do automatic testing. But you could have like a different pipeline that would be just deploy the diff on the UAT. That will be the same for everyone all the time. This kind of things.
Correct.
So I can show you, for instance, here on AWS.
But this was the complete application. So what we just saw, it's not parts of it. It as a whole, it's
Yes.
it and can be used.
Yes, and we'll add the capabilities in the next version just to upload or to use this pipeline to upload only a subpart. You can do that. You can currently upload just a subpart manually. So you go
So
to
one last thing, it's
yeah.
subpart.
Sorry.
You said the next version you'll get.
Next version will have the capability to do a patch if you want a patch manually. You can do that currently, but you have to do that manually. For instance, here I am on my portal, so the administrative portal of Bonita. I can go to my process here, and for instance, on request loan, I want to change the form because the form of instantiation form is not correct for me. I want to update it, so I can change it directly from my studio here, so from my UI designer, export it and change it directly here. I can see all the form that are used, the user interface used by this process, and I can change it very easily here by uploading a new one, okay? And change the mapping here. So I won't do that currently. I will just wait AWS to start. So I'm on my AWS console. So I just created two new instance, new other one, but here you can see that one just created now. So the instances are initializing, so it takes a few times for AWS to have the instance initializing. And if I come back on my pipeline, so yes, we are close to have the instance.
About your previous question, you were asking how do you help the developer? Something like that. This is exactly the point. You know, you have something wrong on the process. You can what we call live update. So all these extension points I was talking about, and the structure, the best practices, whatever, everything is coming from the studio, helping you, or at least limiting the way you can do things. So it's highly flexible and extensible, but in a way that is structured, as that if you have to live update, you can do it directly. So it's in flight. Even in flight would be good. So one example is the form. That's why we have the contract, for example. It's like you have this interface to make sure that if you change the form, it doesn't change the process itself. You still have this interface good. And also the Groovy script. Groovy script, we were talking about that. It's on top of Java, but it's not interpreted language. So it means that if you change that, it will be recompiled somehow. So you don't have any problem with that. You can change the expression. Or condition is wrong, for example. You don't want to go to a long check if it's less than 1,000, something like that. Maybe the business change on that. You don't want to have a full new version of the process. You just want to change this little expression that is built on Groovy. You can do that directly here. So that's the kind of patch we are talking about. It's like if you have little things changing, then you can patch that and make it more flexible and easier to maintain as a team. Iteration is good, but sometimes like, well, a nightmare because you have to maintain all of that and making sure that things are good and tested and whatever. It depends on the organization. That would be a nightmare.
And when you use the word patch, should I think of maintenance releases?
So, yes, exactly. Maintenance releases if you want.
Yeah, usually on my side I use patch, or the customers would use that when you do it manually. So you patch it, but at the same time on the source you make it. It's not really a part of the current release. And then the next time you have that, you make sure that it's not a regression, so you have it on the source. That's usually what you do.
It's interesting that because your things are going so fast anyway, they're talking about minutes. This patch answers it's just saving us a few minutes.
Yes.
And most of the time is to deploy and so on. When you have a patch, it's like super small.
Yes, if you do some patch, you won't redeploy a new server. You will redeploy on an existing server, so you will just modify the subpart.
Because
you won't have that
patch in the C++ days where deployment takes hours and patch is minutes.
Yeah.
This is minutes. So I wonder how fast patch would be.
So now I have, as you can see, we have a new machine. So as you can see, trust me, this is not the same ID we had previously. So this is a new machine deployed on Amazon, and we have deployed the living application on it. We can connect to this machine, so it has deployed the organization for you. It has deployed everything for you. So it has deployed all the processes. If we go to administration, it also has deployed the application for you. So if I come back to the famous loan one and click on it, as you can see, I have still the same patch ready to be used, but on a new dedicated environment created in a few minutes. And I can create and ask for a new loan here. So still the same. The price increasing in a few minutes. So I can create my loan here, and enter my birth date. It's a real one, yes. And I have a new loan created here with some documents, etc. And I complete the demo. So I show you the first step when you do it manually from the studio first, all the flexibility we have very quickly, then how to deploy manually and locally, then how to use the command line of BCD to easily build everything you had stored on your BCS, Git BCS, and then the integration of this tooling into Jenkins continuous integration. So I hope it was clear enough. If you have other questions, more than the ones you already asked, feel free to ask. Any questions?
I guess targeting a certain kind of customer with this. I mean, who's the customer here? Anyone who has a process, or
so we try to work with, as I mentioned, we try to solve big problems. So usually we work with medium and large organizations. There is a lot of course, we are not specialized in one particular vertical, but we have some verticals that are more focused for us. For example, financial services. If I gave like 2 or 3 examples of financial services, because it represents something like 30% of our business. But then, we are working a lot those days with, every company that is, for example, providing a better customer onboarding experience. So it can be telco, telecommunications. We work with the major telecommunication companies in Europe and here in the US as a customer. We also work a lot with the government in different countries. And basically we see a little bit of everything.
I was wondering about the upgrade time. You said some people have 7.7.2. How long will it take them to upgrade to the latest?
It's very easy. So we provide a script to migrate. So in some minutes, you migrate your platform on a new one. So it's just a script to launch on your existing platform. And for the Studio One, you just open the new Studio version, and it will migrate for you automatically all your diagrams to the new version.
Are you guys thinking of cloud version as well?
The cloud.
I don't have to install anything.
We don't provide a cloud version. We provide all the tooling for you to deploy easily all your runtime and to manage it by yourself or be held by any partners, technical partners, hosting, etc. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
No questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.